Hello, everybody. The Inconsequential Runner here. Welcome back to the channel. If you're joining us for the first time, this is a little series we're doing at the moment where we pick a good coach's brain with some of the questions we want to ask as runners. That's all you need to know. Thanks for joining us. For those that are familiar with the series, welcome back. You know what to do. Hit subscribe if you want to be kept in the loop with other videos that are coming your way. No hard sell. And hit like if you like the video. And that's a good way. If there's a couple of tips in here, entrench those tips. If there's a couple of good tips for you, entrench them by clicking like. I'm pretty sure that'll help you remember them. if I can be so bold. Okay, anyway, with no further ado, let's get straight into it. Coach Mark, thank you again for joining us for this video. Welcome back.
Yeah, hi Darcy. Yeah, thanks for inviting me back.
We haven't been scaring you off with these questions, so let's get.
Well, no, it gets me thinking, which isn't bad thing.
Track workouts. Let's talk about track workouts. Should we include track workouts if we can? I know there's not tracks everywhere. Some people, it's a distance for them to get to track work to track. Some other people are really lucky they've got tracks in their backyard. But irrespective of the distance people have to travel, is it valuable having a track workout? And if it is valuable, why? Why should we make use of the track in our running regimen? And if it is valuable, I'll ask you one other question later. We'll come back to it. It's up to me to remember it. And that would be, what would be one workout we can take to the track? So Coach Mark, throwing you in the deep end, track workouts, should we be doing them? Should we be considering them as part of our training?
Well, I know a number of runners that wouldn't go near a track at all. They said, "Oh, it's just way too monotonous or high pressured." They think everyone there is an elite athlete, which isn't the case. I know. I mean, you've doing quite a bit of training at the track. I know.
As a non-elite runner, absolutely.
I'm not suggesting you're not an elite athlete, but I was like,
no. Coach Mark, I don't want to interrupt you, but you're quite right in your point. Every time I go to the track, there's a huge range of abilities there. And because there's 8 lanes in a track, they can all run at the same time. If you're going a little bit slower, you go to it seems the etiquette is you go to the outer lanes. If you're timing yourself and you're doing some 400 or 800 intervals, you've got lane 1 and 2 to yourself. Though some tracks like to shut off lanes 1 and 2, and you've got to run in lane 3 to protect the track. But yeah, Coach Mark, I'll hand it back to you, but you're absolutely right in your point. All abilities go to the track. So if anyone is thinking, I'm not good enough to go to the track, you are. Yeah. And the track has a really welcoming atmosphere. Sorry, Coach Mark, back to you. That was a point.
Yeah, just further what you were saying, actually, it's a similar feeling to go into a gym. It's a great sort of busy atmosphere of everyone's just doing their own thing. And it's a very productive sort of atmosphere. You can't head along to the track and you automatically feel like your work ethic's gone up a notch. Yeah.
Great point.
But I know, I mean, as I say, I know you go to the track and I used to be a track runner, so I've done thousands and thousands of sessions at the track over my years. So I can certainly vouch for the value of running at the track. I would say that the number one benefit is the ability to run even paced. That would be the number one benefit of running at the track. And as we all know, that the most efficient way to run your quickest is to pace it evenly. And you see that the big European athletics meets, they have pay a lot of money for paces to keep it even. They have this wave-like technology to, if someone's going for a record, to keep everyone running at an even pace. And even going, you go to any, they had the Wellington marathon, half marathon the other weekend, and there were people there who with big signs saying, running 2 hours, stick with me, I'm going to run at an even pace.
Yep. So let me ask you about even pace, and then let me ask you about a routine someone can take to the track. So when you say even paced, what occurs to me is 2 things. One is because the track is broken up by and large into 100-meter blocks, or at least the 400-meter, then you can you've got your consistent timing. You know, if you want to run 2-minute, 400 meters intervals, and you want to do 10 in a row or whatever, it's really easy to track how your pace is going. That's one element. The other element that occurs to me is if you try and do a 400 meter or 800 meter or 1200 on the road, you even paced on the track means there's no obstacles there. Everyone's flowing in the same direction. You're golden. Where on the road, you're going to come across, you know, dogs and gutters and cars turning in. So when you say even paced, is that the sorts of things you're talking about?
Yes, it is. Yes, that's exactly right. It's an exact measured circuit, and because it's a circuit, also you can compare one interval to another interval. Not like if you're on the road, you might have one with the wind behind you, one with the wind, you know, the other way. That type of thing, you know, or there might be a little rise in the road or something like that. Each one is totally comparable, and as you say, because it's such a smooth surface, there's nothing to hinder you in terms of just getting to an efficient style and efficient pace. And the other thing is because I mean, obviously with GPS watches we can get a gauge on our pace anyway, but they're not always totally accurate, you know, second to second, if you see what I mean. Yeah. And we can rely on those so much when we're running. Whereas what's great about the track is you just run. You don't have to look at your watch. You can run and you stop your watch, or you can look at your watch every 200 meters, every 400 meters, and you can gauge where you are. And you pay the price if you've gone too fast. I know you probably felt the feeling when you've done your first interval way too fast, and you think, oh no. But you're in for a tough session, you know. But you gradually learn this, you see, and over the years I did it. I got to the point I could literally nail a lap to the second, and knew within myself how it felt as well. That's the other thing. I knew this effort and this tempo and this action, this sort of you know, sort of cadence I'm using, and that all adds up to this time, and I'd always be right, you know, after a while. So, and that's quite a powerful thing to learn. You know, you can then take that. So you can be in an event and you can be running with paces or with other people, but to know within yourself where you are is wonderful. Yeah, very, very powerful, and you never lose it.
Yeah, perfect. Look, I think some of those advantages you've talked about, I've experienced. The track's new to me. I've only discovered it in the last sort of 2 years, but I love it. My closest track is about a half an hour drive away. With traffic, it's probably about 45 minutes, but I find it well worth it. As you say, when you get there, your work ethic tends to go up a couple of notches, because there will be some people there working quite hard, and that entices you to work harder, which is good. You get a greater benefit out of the work, and just having those really clean measurements. Your 400 meters is always 400 meters because the track doesn't change. This is another video for another time. If I want to get on my soapbox, because it drives me nuts when people look at their GPS on their watch and they might say to an official who's measured out a 10-kilometer track, going, oh, it's only 9.9. It's like, no, your GPS watch is wrong, mate.
Wrong, it's right.
Why is this? Yeah. Anyway, that's another thing for another time. But yeah, if you're watching this video and your watch says something, that's maybe the distance you run, but it also might not be the distance you run. Your watch isn't super accurate. Anyway, I'm getting on my soapbox. Just leave officials alone, man. So yeah, give us then. So yeah, look, I think you've sold the idea of if you can include the track in your training, it'll do you a massive service. There's big benefits. So Coach Mark, give us something. If we go to the track and we do, in my world, it's usually a 20-minute warm-up. I need 20 minutes to warm up. After I've done my 20-minute warm-up, what sort of intervals do you think we should do on the track? And I don't want to make it too hard for you, but maybe concoct now for us a session we'd do if we were, say, looking at improving, say, our 5K time. So if we've got park runners watching this and they want to improve their 5K time, can you give us a session that we might want to take away to the track? So those of you watching, maybe grab a pen and paper or come back and we'll get the details of this video. But Coach Mark, if I'm not throwing you in the deep end, can you give us something to do track? So we've done the 20-minute warm-up. What should we continue to do now?
Well, so as I was saying, two things really. If you want to improve your park run time, one is to nail running at even pace. So that's your first thing. And then the second thing is to actually get your body used to running slightly quicker than even pace, than park run pace. Ideally, at the end of the race, not at the beginning of the race, then slow down. So I think a very good session would be to do something like 3 times 600 meters. So that's a lap and a half of the track.
Yep.
And you can even use, so every 200 meters, so there's 3 200 meters and a 600 meters, you can glance at your watch and, work out what pace you should be on for the first one. And then see how that compares to your park run time. Because you want to run those at your 5K pace. And then adjust the second one. So you might have either gone too fast or too slow. Adjust the second one. Either a bit quicker or a bit slower, and then hopefully you've nailed on that. And then the third one you do it at that same pace again. So then hopefully you've done 2 at the same pace. It might take a few sessions to get that. So you basically then got your 5K pace for 3 600s. Then you run 3 600s. Then you'll run 3 400s, which is just a lap, and you want to just up the pace a notch, just a notch. So maybe a second per lap. And run 3 of those. So the same premise. Try to sort of nail that even pace, and then you're going to finish off with lots of 200 meters. So that's just half a lap, and this one you're going to up the pace again. So this is effectively your finishing drive. Where you're coming the park run, you can see the finish. Way in the distance, and you're able to just up the pace that little bit more. So that workout, do that a few times. I guarantee you'll hit your next park run. You'll be
all right. Let me see if I've captured this correctly, and I can repeat it. So the team are doing 600 meters. I'm going to say 600 meters on. So at their pace, as you say, it might be slightly above the target pace for park run. So they're getting used to it. So 600 meters on, and then a 200 meter walk.
200 meters, so I didn't say, did I? 200 meter walk, that's right.
200 meter walk, 600 on, 200 meter walk. Now that's nice and easy because that's 2 laps of the track. 600 on, 200 off. Then you're doing 3 400s, 400 on, and then another 200 meter walk to get out. So, okay, you got 2 options to do there. You either do your 200 meter walk and end up on the opposite side of the track and start your 400 there, or what I've seen some people do is they walk 100 meters out, 100 meters back. So you're starting on the same point every time. Okay, so 600, 200, 600, 200, 600, 200, then 400, 200, 400, 200, 400, 200. And your 400s, you're doing about a second a lap quicker. Just go up a click. I just call it a click, up a click. Yeah. And sort of viscerally you're doing that. And then 2 times 200s, 200 on, 200 off, 200 on. You probably don't have to do the last 200 off because you're off at that stage, and then you're just doing your warm down. Is that it, Coach Mark?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Too easy.
So you're learning even pacing within your intervals, and then you're also learning to gradually speed up throughout the session, which is what you ideally want to do in the race. Yeah, nice. you want to think I'm going to get quicker in the latter part of the race, not I'm going to get slower.
Perfect. Okay, well, look, I've got park run tomorrow, but I'm so keen to try this track. I'm going to have to sleep on it. I'm going to have to wait because I can't do both in one day. No. Which is what we do as runners. We discover new things and we want to just build this around the plan. Coach Mark, you've given us something. Thank you so much. In terms of the 600s, the 400s, the 200s, sounds like a perfect track session. If you can get to the track, it's worthwhile doing. If you haven't been to the track before, try it out. Know that it is a safe and a friendly environment. Everyone's there to do the same thing and everyone's supportive of each other, which is improving our own ability to run. Thank you so much for watching the channel. Stay in the loop. You know how to do that. Hit subscribe and you'll get an alert when these next videos pop up, and there will be more. So Coach Mark, I'll say goodbye now. Coach Mark, we'll catch you in the next one.
Yeah, thanks very much, Darcy. See you soon.
See ya. Bye.